My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, and I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And today is a special episode because it's another birthday episode. Happy birthday, Sky. Happy birthday, Sky. We can't sing the real song because it's copyright. I don't need the lawyers coming after us. So as we always do when everyone's on their birthday, with their birthday month. Luckily, we're all born in different months, so it works out quite nicely. Gets to pick an episode topic, and no one can argue with it. And this year, Sky done picked a very special episode that I'm sure you know the topic of because you saw the title before you clicked play. That's right, we're talking about ONEWE, the little K-band that could.
Yeah, they could, couldn't they?
Mm-hmm. They definitely could.
They definitely could and can and continue to do. So, Sky, take it away, girl. Tell us all about ONEWE.
ONEWE. So, ONEWE, in case you don't know, because you might not, ONEWE, because they're with Rainbow Bridge World or RBW label, which is the same label as Mamamoo. That's probably the biggest
big one, yeah,
that you're gonna notice from that label. Same label as, of course, ONEUS, and I'll get to that in a second. But also Purple Kiss.
Yeah,
so those are the people that you would recognize from the label. But they did not start there. So I'll take you back to where they actually really began. A few of the members met each other a good 12-13 years ago, which that is just, or probably longer now, because actually that interview was like last year or something. So, long time ago. Because 3 of them went to music school together. And the 3 that were, and I'll go into the members later, but the 3 that did meet up at school were Kanghyun, Gyuk, and Harin. And they were the youngest students in the entire music school to begin with.
Little babies.
Gyuk, he was in 6th grade.
Wow.
The other 2 were like in 8th grade.
That's a baby.
Yeah,
baby children.
A child. A child.
A little child.
So even the 2 that were in 8th grade, they were baby children. Like they were they were all the youngest students, so they wanted to do something together. So when you were in music school and you want to do something together, what do? You form a band.
Classic.
That's what
of
you
course.
do.
That's just how you. We've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
I did the same. I was in a band all through high school as well. Like, it's what you do.
So they aren't specific about like how long the 3 of them were just a band, but then I think pretty quickly, Gyuk goes, "Hey, I have a next door neighbor, Dongmyoung. He can be in our band too. He's like my BFF. Can he come be in our band?"
Classic band start. Like,
Perfect.
really, all you need is a garage now.
Yeah.
So these baby children were then in a band together,
Love
and
it.
that is where they began.
I love
cute.
it.
I don't know when they like named their band. I don't know if they came up with the band name before they got their lead singer or after. But like, I don't feel like they named it until later. But anyway, they were a band for a little bit because this was a few years later. By this time, they're still in music school. The 3 of them are still in music school. They never say exactly, like, where Dongmyoung ended up, if he ever went to the music school. I don't know. I have no clue. But, so this is the story of how an older guy ended up being lead singer of these baby children. And they get a pretty big kick out of this story. There's one instance I saw them talking about it where they were making up a lot of stuff, making it very, very funny because Young Hoon is the older guy. He was 22 when he was approached by the baby children. So the way this worked
I'm walking up
was
there and be like, please.
Listen, they weren't getting a band member, they were getting a keeper at this point. Like,
Yeah, they needed, like, a
they were getting
supervisor.
a chaperone that could get them into places, right? Someone to take them to the R-rated movies as their, like, guardian.
So, Young Hoon, he was in college, and there was a K-pop singing contest. And he's like, it's like $1,000. I would love to go make money. So he went. And the baby children were the session musicians for this contest. That's what they were up to. And so Young Hoon won the contest because of course he did. If you have heard his vocals, you'd be like,
Stunning.
yes,
Stunning.
he won the contest. So at the end, he was gonna go bye-bye and just like leave, you know. But then he gets approached by the drummer of the baby children, Haren, with some coffee, who's like, hey, we don't have a lead singer. You have a really nice voice.
I just love
Can
it.
you maybe be our...
visual?
So the funny part about this story is also they've retold this story on TV a couple different times at this point, but one time there's kind of a separate variety show called Fact and Star where people are like extra silly on Fact and Star. So they were telling the story on Fact and Star. And Young Hoon was trying to make it seem like, oh, I had always wanted to be like a global idol and they weren't big enough for me, so I was acting all standoffish and hard to get. So like they did this whole like skit and it was not what happened at all. And like the other members could not handle even watching the skit because it was just full of beans. Like none of it was a thing. So at the end Giyuk was like, none of that happened. We were all very exceedingly polite to each other because we didn't know each other. We were strangers. And even when he received the coffee, Young Hoon was like bowing, saying, thank you, sir, like to the younger kid.
That's really sweet.
So cute.
It's just super adorable. So, and it wasn't like boom, boom, it was done. He, of course, had some hesitation joining the baby children.
One would hope there would at least be a little bit of like, I don't know,
like,
man.
Your children.
But the way he said it when he was telling the story on a different show, he said, I didn't really know what life... So at first he was concerned because, like, they're kids.
Yeah.
But then he goes... But I don't know what life has in store for me, but it seems like it would be fun to experience life with these guys. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. So that's how when Giyuk the young one, was in 9th grade, they all became a band. So youngest 9th grade, oldest 22. That is how they began with all the members.
Range going here.
That is crazy.
So,
especially at that, like, period of life. Like, it's one thing if it was, the youngest was like 18 and then the jump.
Right.
And especially since one of their twin brothers is the lead singer of another group, so they could have just asked him, but I guess not. It's okay. They're like, no.
But it wasn't that way then.
Yeah, I know.
Like, way back then. Anyway.
I'm joking.
So they eventually made a name, and they debuted. And when I say they debuted, they were not... I don't really understand how they... So they weren't under label for quite some time, but then they were. So then I feel like they signed up with Ruby Bridgeworld, and they debuted as Make a Sound. MAS0094. Like, that was their name, but it stands for Make a Sound. And the reason it's MAS0094, it's because all the members were born between 2000 and 1994. Because they're sweet like that. Of course, that's what it is.
That's a new way of
when I say they debuted,
number thing.
yeah, that is a good, like, you can
cute.
have numbers, just don't associate it with how many
members you have. Yeah.
So, essentially, they were on some music shows, they had... And I'll go into their discography later, but like, so they started off as that. I mean, I'm not committing to the fact that they were under Ruby Bridgeworld for that moment, but to me, they were on music shows, so it only makes sense. I couldn't really figure out how that all happened. But I know they eventually signed with Ruby Bridge World. They trained a lot after that. Did stuff as MAS 0094, but then, like, re-debuted as ONEWE. It's kind of confusing. It's really hard to figure out what happened. But, so when they were in their training era, they trained with the kids from ONEUS. So in case you haven't heard of them, ONEUS is a K-pop boy group, not a band, boy group. And they trained, I feel like they still live next to they at least used to live next to each other and with each other, essentially, in the dorms. And they even did a song together. So, like, they're very, very close. But also, two of them are twins, so of course they're close. So, like, it all makes sense. But really, the way they were promoted as they were doing all of their training, busking and stuff, was together. Because the band would kind of be the making the music for the boy group to do all the dances and stuff. So it kind of worked out. I think what's nice about that is when you go look at K-pop boy groups, when they go busking and dancing and stuff, it's a very lonely act. Like, busking can be a very lonely thing. So I think it's kind of nice that they had all the members together, like, supporting each other in that way. I feel like maybe they kind of had some fun with that.
Yeah.
So eventually they came to be as ONEWE. I wrote it down. So in June 2018, that's when Ruby Bridge World was like, hey, we're going to re-debut them as ONEWE. And they're going to debut with ONEUS, which we joke is ONEUS, but, like, ONEWE, ONEUS. That's what that is.
We do joke about that a lot every time we mention them. We're like, we got nothing
Like
from
Target
ONEUS.
instead of Target.
Yeah.
No, it works out.
But, you know, ONEWE doesn't have a mispronunciation.
That's true.
too.
ONEWE.
No, ONEWE is...
Now, when I was retyping their name a lot, I did accidentally put ONU recently. When I
Well, you could just put you could put ONEWE.
Yeah, like
that could be their fake one.
ONEWE.
ONEWE.
So, as far as when I started kind of knowing that they were around, it was pre-debut. Like, they kind of did some teasers for ONEWE. I didn't know them as MAS 0094. The way that RBW was doing some teasers of stuff was really cool. And so I paid attention. I honestly thought they debuted well before they debuted, because they did some pre-release drops that made me think that they did that.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, I don't like they were initially just going to debut them, and then they thought of this group collaboration between the two, and that's why they redirected everything, because they were focusing on them, and they probably were supposed to be more than they are now. Like, that's what, like, to me it sounds like. It's kind of like how 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. were one, and then they got split up. It feels to me that RBW actually had plans of, like, making them more combined than they are now.
Yeah.
And they had just, like, signed them at different times, so then that's why like the debuting is a little off.
I can see how that would be really good for if you're touring. Like, some K-pop groups do have a band playing for them, as opposed to, right? So you could have them both touring together, and you've got the band playing but when the K-pop, like, the boy group needs a break from the dancing, and now it's the band's turn to just rock out for a little bit. It would give you a really good way to do, like, sets that way, and kind of take breaks, and, like, okay, now they're gonna dance while the band takes a little bit of a break, or
move stuff around.
It would be cool, and it would be a really good way for you to get more fans, because even if I'm just a fan of ONEWE, I'm still buying tickets to come to the concert.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like a subunit, but, like, you don't have to, like, overtax people because of it, because they are still two different things. It's kind of almost like AOA and their band group, like, the way that they tried to do it. They didn't really, like, successfully, like, keep that up, but it's kind of like it has hints of that.
So, like, conceptually, I think that was a really neat thing. Doesn't seem like that it does seem like stuff got redirected and that kind of didn't end up happening as much. Again, it's hard for me as an international fan who, I'm gonna say right now, I'm not super, super deep into all of the backstory of Formation and stuff. Because I just love their music. Like, that was really what got me pretty quick with them. But because to me, there could have been some really fun concept stuff they could have done across the groups. Because, like, they started pretty quickly with ONEUS. They did a lot of, like, vampire-y type, really cool conceptual. I'm not sure why that couldn't arc over once in a while with ONEWE as well. I'm not sure, but
they're like, we're just a band. We're just a band. What do you want from us? We're a band. Right.
Well, and I will say, like, again, I don't know the history of RBW whatsoever, but as far as I can see, just from the top of my head, I'm not seeing any other bands under their purview at the moment. So it makes me think that they're not used to handling band side of things.
Yeah, they probably could have just like made it as like a decision at that time. Like, people were picking up bands. Like, I feel like they probably were like, I see what, like N-Flying and Day 6 are doing. Like, I feel like maybe we should like try this out.
Right. And it was kind of that, that moment in time. Yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the members really quickly before I start getting too far into what they've dropped. Again, I'm not going to go super deep in this because I am not so learned in every last live and stuff that has
it's hard. From these we only have a certain amount of hours in the day.
We're adults. We don't have that kind of time,
Well, and you have the groups that you've watched for years and years, and yes, you have seen almost every last thing they've dropped. And then you have the groups that you love them to pieces, and you have their main albums, and you love them, but you can't. You only have so much time in the day, especially when you watch dramas too.
Yeah.
I don't just listen to music.
Still a fan, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, it is 5 members. The oldest is Jin Young-hoon. He was born in 94. His roles are leader, main vocal, guitar, and he does keyboard once in a blue moon. His little notes are that he whistles well. Like,
I can see that.
I mean, like, he's done some guide whistling for like one of the songs and stuff. So like, yeah, he actually
can whistle very well. That is a talent. Like, I can't whistle at all.
That's true.
I cannot at all.
Actually have to train for good whistling too. It's not just something that you can just do.
Yeah. He's oldest, but as far as like, does he really act that much older than the other kids? Not really. Like, let's be real. He acts pretty similar to the way they do. He does make things awkward. That dynamic did remind me a lot of In Flying, like a lot.
Yeah.
As far as like, whenever the leader's trying to be like, haha, funny about something, and then everyone else just
cringe
to be funny, does not laugh to make them feel awkward.
And then
like,
just that's the secondhand embarrassment every time gets me. Where I'm just like, oof. And
it's not like that's a one-off. Like, that's the shtick of that dynamic. Yeah. So, like, that seems to be similar to what sometimes happens to Young-hoon, poor guy. And I do think, I think I just I usually don't know this when I bias somebody, but why do I end up biasing scaredy cat people? I don't know. Because usually I'll be like, this is my bias, and then, like, I'll learn more about them, like, oh, how do I keep? How do I keep?
You gotta type.
But they always. A lot of these groups, they'll kind of have little content things where, a prank is pulled on them and they get spooked with something, and then it's funny to see how does this person react. Well, Young-hoon does not react so well. Young-hoon kind of goes and cries in a corner. Like he gets pretty scared. So, yeah, he's super smiley, like, big smile from Young-hoon. That's kind of his main thing. The next oldest, Ju Ha-rin. Well, it's possible that Kang-hyun would be the next oldest. I don't really know. I didn't compare the two. Let's go with Kang-hyun, I guess.
If any of them are on the same year.
Yeah, Ha-rin is old.
Yeah, so they're both the same, but they're both the same year. Yeah. So Ha-rin and Kang-hyun, like, they're both
Yeah, so because
They're
like,
both
since
98.
it's like officially changed now that they're using international age.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like,
I just wust wrote down what line they were in.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna sit here and play age numbers and stuff.
Harin is born in March, and Kang Hyun's born in November, so it's like opposite ends of the year.
But then what's next level interesting with that, as far as who's currently in the military, Young Hoon is in the military and Kang Hyun is in the military, so that's why I was thrown off a little bit extra, because that's that. Harin is not in the military right now. So, but we will talk about, I guess, Harin, since he is the next oldest. Ju Harin, drummer. That is the main thing he does. He does repairs, too, for them, and he is the best at cleaning.
It's an important role to have in a group, especially when you live together.
Especially if you're not gonna have like actual like roadies and groupies, you're gonna have to like do all that stuff yourself.
Yeah.
I also think I love how K-pop type bands, whenever they're promoting in various spaces, and then all of a sudden the drummer, so like, you know, the guitarists and the bassist, like they can all bring their instruments out pretty quickly if they're doing a sit down with somebody, and then all of a sudden it's usually like the drummer has to play like whatever the name of the thing is where they're banging like the box that they're sitting on. Yeah. So I think that's always funny. Like, it's not supposed to be funny. It's just they're always good at it. I'm like, I'm very impressed, drummer. So just a little side note with Harin, Kang Hyun, Dongmyeong, and Gyuk, they were all in Mamamoo Solar's music video, It's Been a Long Time. It's pretty cute. So that's that. Kang Hyun, his like non-stage name is Kang Hanggu. He's also 98 line. He's the guitarist. He is an introvert being, just so you know. He is a bookworm. Like, that is the main thing he talks, like, during his lives and stuff, he's always talking about the book he reads. So there's even, amongst the fans, they have little book clubs to read all the books that he has recommended, because he has recommended a lot, and he loves talking about the books that he's reading. And he was originally a kendo player, but he changed to music. He also likes doing an impersonation of Pingu, so his nickname is Pingu. The next one is Son Dongmyeong, and that is the twin with his brother Dongju, or his stage name Zeon of ONEWE. So they're very sunshine and dark cloud. Like, that is their dynamic. It is so cute. They are so funny, and they give each other a hard time all of the time. And what is nice about the band being so close for so long is even members of ONEWE treat all the kids from ONEWE like as family. Like, they're just one big family, essentially. So if you see some behind the scenes stuff, like if Zeon comes to like bring snacks for a shoot that ONEWE is doing, they'll all be like, oh, my love. Like, they'll just, you know, they just, it's just really funny. Like, they don't care. So Son Dongmyeong, he is 2000 line. He's a baby child. Lead vocal, keyboard, keytar, and they write him down as visual. He also was a contestant of Produce 101. He ranked 68. So he did dancing and all of that. He did very well. And then the youngest is Lee Gyuk. And for quite some time, he had a stage name of Kia, but it seems like he's not using that anymore. So that's so if you go look at content, it's kind of confusing, because like, who is Kia? Kia is Gyuk. That is who that is. The youngest, the shortest, tiny bean bassist rapper kid. So rapper, bassist, synth, Maknae. And then, as I've said, he and Dongmyeong, they were BFFs for forever, and now they're roommates. So that's cute. He also appeared in the music video of Purple Kisses Zombie. If you haven't seen it, go watch Purple Kisses Zombie. It is a cute music video. Cute. And check out Purple Kiss. They're adorable. So, those are the members.
Yeah.
I have their discography written down. I could sit here and rattle it off for you, but I think I'm just going to give you some... So, I'll give you some highlights.
Yeah, just the highlights. People can Google it if they
have released. They have released a fair bit. So, like, I do want to start off with, they did release their very first EP back in 2016, March 25th, 2016, when their MAS 0094. And that was Feeling Good Day. So that kind of starts off their career. Well, okay, that was the first release, and then their debut was after 15 Seconds on August 2nd of the same year. Again, pre-release stuff. Whatever. So they did release a handful of stuff as MAS 004. They even had kind of like a performance concert situation. Okay. I had written it down. I was being confusing earlier. I had written it down. In May, they joined RBW Entertainment. So all their mass stuff was pre-RBW.
Okay.
So how on earth, when you're not under a label, do you go onto these music shows?
You probably could just apply for them.
I think, yeah, you can probably apply online. Like, they probably have, like, an open application.
They probably are, like, a paid thing, honestly. You probably just pay to get on.
I guess I was thinking, I've always assumed it was a paid thing. So I was like, how did they get money? Like, that was... Because they had uniforms. Like, they... It's obvious that they were very put together. It's not like they were... So, I'm super impressed, because I really think they weren't on... I've seen them say they weren't on a label until they were under RBW.
There is a possibility, I guess, they could have gone about, like, going on to the music shows in hopes that someone would actually see them, like a company.
Would sign them.
To sign them. Like, because they also could have been in, like, an independent label that, like, has, like, no money and doesn't anything, so, like, you really can't find, like, them being signed to it, and it being attached to another major label, because it's just like an offshoot of the company. So it could have been that they were on this like really small little indie label that has no money and does like really nothing. It's just kind of there, and was still owned by RBW.
Yeah, because all I know is whenever they were MAS 0094, they were on music shows. They had like matching uniforms and all types of stuff when they performed. So anyway, so in May 2017, they joined RBW, and it was announced that they would be changing their name. Even before they debuted as ONEWE, they released the single Last Song with ONEUS September 27th. Then they did another release. I didn't write this down right. Anyway, they started doing a lot of releases, a lot of EPs that year in 2019. So the first EP was 1/4. Then they did a Japanese version of that. Then they did 2/4 in August. That was the official debut with the title song Regulus.
All right. Okay, we're getting there.
So finally, once you hit their album 2/4, that was when they debuted, evidently.
After years of putting out albums and performing, they finally debuted. Like...
Yeah. So then in April 2nd, 2020, they released their first single, 3/4, but the song was Q, and it featured Mamamoo Swasa.
Oh.
Gorgeous song.
Lucky them.
May 26, 2020, they released their first full album, One, with 12 tracks. There were 4 new songs on it, but the rest of it were all of the songs that were on all of those 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. All that stuff is on One. So, if you're looking for it, just go to One. It's easier. They did, September 12th, they did do an OST song. for the drama about her. The song is What Is Love? Was It Love? It's really cute. Then they released... So they also... I have not delved into... They kind of have some separate releases that are studio recording type stuff. So, like, September 24th, they released Studio We recording with title track Parteen. Parteen does turn up on some other albums later. So, bands do this a lot. Don't be too confused. Yeah. Also, during all of this, it's not that they're just dropping music. They do a lot of... I think there's a performance space. If it's not in RBW, it must be near it or something. And they do a lot of intimate stage performances for their fans. Like, that's all through this. That's where they get a lot of these studio recordings. They do a lot of these Studio We things is what they would call them. December 11th, they released the single album Memory Illusion. The title is A Book in Memory. June 16th, 2021, they released their first mini album. Again, the semantics of this EP mini, okay. Planet 9 Alter Ego. The title is Rain to Be, but they released a lot of music videos with that one. So a lot of the B-sides like Aurora, Veronica, there's more tracks on it. So there was a lot with that. They released a pre-release single Star for their studio recording number 2 in December 7th. Then on December 21st, they released Stay with ONEWE. So that was nice that came back to do a joint group thing. Then January 4th, they released mini album Planet 9 Voyager. The title song for that is Universe. And for that mini album, every member wrote a song. So that's really neat. Yeah. So they all kind of had their separate songs. Then May 20th, 2022, they released the single Timeless, but the title song is Roommate, and along with a 2022 version of their song Starlight, because I think Starlight was way back in the day when there were Mass 0094. Then, October 4th, 2022, they released the single Still Here, and that is also the name of the actual track. January 28th, 2023, they released their first full English album, Gravity. And the title track is the same name, so Gravity is the title track, and the rest of the songs are songs that they had already released, but they're all in English, and they are very, very, very well done. What's neat about that is that full English album, it was released after the two members went into the military. Huh. So that was a really neat timing thing they did.
Yeah, because they're even on the music video as well. That's kind of fun.
I was like, when they do that, it's like they're keeping it under their cap until.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything. I had resigned to the fact that the lead singer and the guitarist are in the military. That's the way things go for bands. But no, they dropped. It is a long, full English album. Super impressive. And they also continued to do some performance type stuff. And then April 20th, 2023, Gyuk, he released his solo mini album. Which, again, I wasn't expecting the bassist to come out here and be like, I'm dropping an album. And it's not just a couple of tracks. It's a handful of tracks. And they're all great. And so the title of that is Psycho Cybernetics Turnover. And he had solo concerts with that, too. He was not messing around. So I was actually really impressed, because I'm not saying that RBW... I don't know how well they market for them as a band. I am unsure. I've seen, once you really get into fan spaces, fans are really never going to be 100% satisfied with how a group is
they also have no clue how music works too, so that really affects things.
So I am not going to make any statements about if I think they're being managed correctly, because I have no idea. But I'm just saying, as more of an outsider, I was pretty impressed that okay, none of the other members have had a solo album, Yeah, let's let the youngest member.
It's gotta be because he's the producer one. Because he's constantly producing stuff, so he must it must be just like easier. For
he had it under the cap already.
Already gonna be able to do the entire thing himself. Like he doesn't have to have those extra resources. Like you don't have to like actually buy someone to come and do all the things because he's been doing that his entire stay at RVW.
And just so you know, the artwork, the album artwork and stuff is really cool. Like it's very retro, kind of cyberpunky. Like it's neat stuff. And he got 2 music videos out of it as well. So yeah, really, really awesome. And totally different vibe from like the typical ONEWE stuff. So definitely go check it out. Cause like he is the rapper. So he there was a lot of different vibes with that. And I thought also what was cool about it was each track has a year at the end of the title. So it's supposed to be like a time machine thing. So each track, like it's supposed to be what year, you know, he's expressing or setting it in or something. So it's kind of neat.
I love a good concept album, you know?
Super concept. And to be clear, the packaging of the album, it is one of those, like, it's that silvery wrapped packaging to where you're going to have to rip that sucker open. So, like, I'm eventually going to own it. I don't own it yet. But, like, I'm already having to mentally prepare myself for the fact that when I get it, I'm actually going to have to rip it open permanently. That's like
we'll
psychic
probably
damage
do it on a live stream. You'll see her pained face.
I will have to have like scissors because there's no way.
Gonna be like,
I suck at ripping stuff
with
open.
a little X-Acto knife, carefully going as
straight
as
she
she can.
First layer, so it'll get
right on the seam, just
thing you can do to just like steam it open at the end or something. You can like slide stuff out.
I wish, but it really is. It's like food packaging. It's the silver, like, you know, kind of crinkly on the end stuff. Like they want you to rip it open. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So that's the rundown of everything they've dropped. Which I mean, they've been pretty busy.
Oh yeah.
From like the start of them even being Mass 094 2016 to now, like that's really not that long of a time since they've been very active. So they've been busy. Busy little bees. As far as like what attracted me personally to them the most, like I fell in love with their music pretty quick. They really started off even pre-releases as ONEWE, a lot of rock ballad, and it was just gorgeous. And so like I started paying more attention to just that, and then as they kind of, I guess, officially debuted, and then they got to kind of do concepts and things, they would just have really pretty music videos and performances and stuff. And I did this past year, before the 2 guys went to the military, I made sure to make time to watch one of their online concerts, and it was great. Like they were great.
I've seen like
they were great in concert online.
Great. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, like all bands are like better when you watch them live in concerts. It's just like how it is, but like they are very good at being online, like live and on stage.
I love that they use the keytar so that they can all be moving around and stuff, and then like the drummer can't, but then they'll all go back and like hang out around the drummer sometimes and stuff to be like, yes, he's here too. We're all together.
Don't worry about it.
I love it.
Well, and I do feel like just because of their training that they've been through and stuff, and then even specifically like Dongmyeong, the fact that he was like on Produce 101, they have at least a small aspect of like they're able to do a little bit of choreography. So that does get like Inflying does that a little bit too, but not quite as much as ONEWE does. Like, so we have to talk now about the fact that ONEWE did a cover of Heartbeat by 2 p.m.
They did.
Yes.
And they didn't do a shabby job. They did a pretty good job for a band.
I also like that, like, my favorite part about that is that drummer, he was into it. It was his performance, and he was all in.
He was not messing around.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was just...
They're so funny.
Their covers are really good.
Oh, yeah.
Especially their girl group covers.
Girl group covers are fantastic.
Like, okay, they do a heck ton of covers. I will say Young Hoon does a lot of like ballad covers when he's doing something by himself, or sometimes Kang Hyun will like just be guitar for him as he does a ballad, which is lovely. And they even recently dropped just a little ONEWE medley thing with some of their songs, which is just them, which was nice. Like, hey, here's the two military dudes doing the thing. They weren't in military uniform. I'm just saying, the guys that are not here right now. By the way, I think they're both in military bands.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna straight up say that right now.
It's clips on TikTok, and that's all I've been getting is their like military TikTok, and it's like, you know, like other people like, oh, they're sad to be in the like enlisting, or like all the fans are sad to be enlisting, and then it's just like videos of them like in the crowd of like army guys jumping around and dancing and singing, and you're like, oh, you're okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say any band member or idol that ends up in military band, it looks like they're having a good time,
the best time.
Yeah.
For having to be in military for 2 years or whatever, that's as good as it gets. I gotta say, they seem to be having fun.
Do what you're trained for, do what you love, and eat, and possibly sleep. Like, I mean, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I just remember like the videos of Chang Sub and Key just like on like the triangle and the like just like, yeah, we're in the band, suckers. Like
well, like I've seen one, so like I don't know how they pick which people get to perform doing what, but like I've seen performances of Cha-hun from In Flying on guitar, MJ from Astro singing with the Victon kids sing, like they're all doing the main thing they've been doing
too, because they also like will form groups within the different branches, because like they're all like because Day 6 was so popular with like just like the general population, they made sure to get Dawn and Young K like always together and Wonpil together for anything, and they're all three in different branches, like entirely different branches of the military, and they're always like, we got to put them together and then they can like play some You're Beautiful, just because everybody knows it.
That's what the people want. Give the people what they want.
But yeah, so the covers, so we were talking about, they do a heck ton of girl group covers, and they're all great. Like, they're super, super fun. They got to perform on Yoo Hyul's sketchbook, which if you don't know what that is, because now it's not even around anymore, but that was like one of the music shows to be on that is not a competition show or anything. It's just like you get to sit down with this guy who has been in music for a very long time, and he interviews you a little bit, and you get to perform a little bit, and you have a studio audience, but it was a big deal to get to be on that. So the fact that ONEWE was able to do that before that show kind of slowly wrapped up, that was really, really neat. And they did a girl group medley on that show, which was really cool.
Oh, also, if we're going to talk about covers, how do you pronounce his name? Guyuk, the Maknae? He has like a whole entire series he actually does where he produces like covers, and I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's like Me Plus You or something like that. Like, it's a whole series he does, and he literally takes songs, and it's usually girl groups, and he says that he does this specifically, and then he puts it in his own style, and he fully produces the song and records it,
and they're incredible. And it's a whole thing,
and like a lot of his vlogs specifically are him creating it, and like to the point where he's like, he explains why he's going to title it the way that he titles it, and then like why he did what he did. They're so good.
Yeah, they're very informative too. But his covers are incredible.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy, and it's just like him. He's like, I'm just gonna play around with this for a little bit. And you're like, okay, sure.
He's like brilliant.
Yeah,
he knows his way around that. So I think what's really cool, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying girl groups aren't noticed, but I think it is actually pretty cool for a dude band to be like, we're gonna play a lot of girl group songs because we just want to.
And he also doesn't do that lame thing that some people do when they're covering a song originally sung by the other gender, where you change the lyrics to make it not gay.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, I'm gonna sing the actual lyrics. It doesn't actually matter. Like,
yeah, because he has a couple of them that are like also like a music, or not like a music video, but you know, like a video attached to it. Like he just did the one, the
Unforgiven,
yeah, the ant, like
sick as hell.
Yeah, it's just and so good.
And I feel like sometimes, and it might have just been this last year, there have been times like for their birthday, you know, like other groups do this too. Like for their birthday, it's like, hey, for your birthday, they kind of get to have, here's a video of them covering something or whatever, even if it wasn't like Yook's, or maybe because like Dongmyeong, I love Dongmyeong's ABCDEFU.
Yeah, he sounds so innocent and sweet,
and he looks so cute the entire time.
And just like beautifully being like, "Fuck you," and you're like, oh, okay, this feels personal now. Like,
and he's like grinning the entire time. He doesn't look mad at all.
He's just like in this beautiful, innocent, angelic voice, just cursing you the entire time, and you're like, this is it. Their cover of Hip is insane. Like the cover of Hip by Mamamoo, insane, actually insane.
The other day, I was forcing my husband. I was like, here's the original Mamamoo song. Here's ONEWE's cover. What do you think? And of course he's like, this is all good. I'm like, no, we're going to watch Hip. We're going to watch, what was the other one? They did Hip.
Egotistic?
I liked it.
They did Egotistic and like
Egotistic, yeah.
And
I did show Hwasa's Twit. Like that was fun.
Yeah.
I love OMG's Dolphin. Like
yeah.
Oh, the Dolphin one was so good. Like, anyway, they're all incredible. They're all incredible.
But I also do, I enjoy how it is, when I say it's a cover, it's not like they're trying to make it identical. They do, they rearrange it. It's arranged for them.
Yeah, it sounds really neat. Different. Like, and
not even just
that's
like
really fun.
Like, it's just, the whole entire package of it is different.
Mm-hmm. Which I like. I don't like when a cover is just exactly the same song. We're just singing it. It's us, right? Yeah. I like it when a band or a group makes a cover their own and it feels different and unique, and they definitely do that, and it's great.
Yeah, I think that like
fantastic.
There was like an article that a couple of articles, I think they talked about this, but like they were talking about how it was kind of hard for them to join RBW because they weren't a idol group. And so they came in having to do a lot of idol stuff that they're not used to. Yeah. So like they were having like actually like hard time kind of adjusting to that, because it was just like such a different thing that they had to like focus on, like doing the specific things. And I think that they did. And I'm not saying that other bands aren't doing this, because other bands are doing this, but I think they really found their way in that through being able to do the idol type stuff, but in their own way. And so these like covers have that. They do the thing where they're on V Live and they just like randomly start like singing and making up songs like on the spot, or like, you know, showing the process of things and that sort of thing. And I think that's like really fun about them, because they're like, okay, we acknowledge that this is the system we're in. This is something we have to do to promote ourselves and so that our band can continue. But let's make it something that like is a little bit more easier for us than just like sitting here like doing Ayo and like all these random things that like we did not train for, so we're not used to it as like, you know, another group can just do it right off the bat because they train to do that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, like, and I forgot to mention earlier, they as a group went on the unit, that competition show, the unit. Yeah. And I did see a clip, it might have been in one of the little guide things, where like, I couldn't really understand the premise of, seemed like all the contestants were milling around, I think trying to form groups of some sort or something, interact somehow to do, I think figure out performances, larger group performances. And no one was approaching them. So like they got the guts up to like do their little greeting and like just explain we're a band, and then you kind of hear these other contestants be like, I used to be in a band, that's going to be really hard for them. It's like, yeah, it would be hard.
Yeah.
But I think so as separate contestants, I think they did pretty well on the unit. It's not like, but they also formed like lasting friendships and stuff, because of course they did. Like one of the Ace kids is friends with them because he was on the unit. So I forgot to mention the unit thing, because competition show, we won't get into all that. We're not a huge fan.
That I had seen that clip and I couldn't remember what I had seen it from, but yeah, they're so cute, just sitting there in their little corner with everybody doing their stuff, and they're like, what do we do so people will talk to us?
I know.
Oh,
Poor little muffins.
And I do want to say, like, so I just saw this like on the site that I pulled that up, but so they're English, like English-wise, I'm not saying that they speak fluently or anything, but like their English album, Gravity, I thought it was really, really well done. I thought the way, again, this is an assumption. I can't sit here and tell you what the Korean lyrics say versus what the English lyrics say. But I feel like, because the way it rhymes so well within English, I think they worked really hard on retooling some stuff within some of these things to make it still flow within English. Because there's absolutely no way that would have been just direct translation, boom, 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 we're done. Like
that's not how any of that works.
Yeah.
It was...
Sentence structure is different, but also just like the fact that like so many things are, in Korean, what's the word? You... Like when you like are putting don't on something, it's always on the end. That like kind of like grammatical thing is not like necessarily what you have.
The sentence structure is completely different.
Rhyme in English because you don't have those types of differences in your language. So then even like some of your just random phrases are just not gonna be the same thing in the English or like a Western culture. It just nobody would know what you're talking about. So,
or one little thing that I can mention is when I was watching the music video for End of Spring, and I had the caption, the English captions, closed captions turned on. In the like chorus, it was like, eggs are here. Yeah, like, that's what it kept saying. I'm like, I'm like 95% sure that is not what's going on.
No. I don't think that's. I feel like this might be an expression, like a colloquial expression.
That's
not maybe a certain vibe they're trying to say, but that's not what's.
You know that interviewer that he's an American interviewer that does all the like the K-pop stuff. Is it Zach? Do you know who I'm talking about? He's like done Stray Kids. He's done Monsta X. He's done a bunch of like stuff even outside of K-pop too. He like does the interview with them, and he is like the friend that's like also on the thing. Zack Snyder or something like that's not it, right? He has an interview, because I know someone like knows who I'm talking about. He has an interview with Eric Nam, and Eric Nam actually has like a significant like part where he talks about like his thought process and the way that like the producing process of it, how it goes when you're translating the Korean songs into the English songs. And he's like, sometimes you literally just have to make the song entirely different. And so he's like, in Korean, this one song is going to be like this like heartfelt thing, and in English it literally has to be like a very jaded lover type situation. It just doesn't work out.
Anybody have any favorite? Want to start off with any specific music videos stand out to you? You don't have to have a favorite or anything, but did you like any specific music video?
I really liked. My mind just went blank on which one it was, but it's the one where they're in the clear truck.
Montage.
Yes, thank you. Where they're just jamming out in this like cyberpunk clear truck. I was like, I like this. I like this truck aquarium situation. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
So at the very beginning of COVID, we did reactions, and we tried to like react to like music videos when they dropped. So like 5, 6 a.m. or whatever it is. And Sky and I, were you on that, Natalia? I don't even remember.
Natalia was.
I was, At the end of spring.
In my coworker's basement, stranded, just at 4 in the morning, like with I think he had like a blanket around me, like, let's do this.
I just thought that was a fun video because, like, especially because, like, about like a quarter of the way in, like you realize Alexa's there, like Alexa the singer.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my like 6 a.m. spot, I was like, Alexa? What?
Whoa, what's happening?
And that was just like
If y'all
fun
are
to
one
see.
fans that are here, you should go check out their reaction to
Yeah,
that. I was sleeping, but like I was just watching the reaction video the other day, and it's so funny and it's so good. I mean, it is. It's a really great little video. But like,
It's a lot
you
of
guys
fun.
kind of get to the end, and you're like, "Was that Alexa?
Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
What? Let's watch it again."
For
And then you guys,
anyone
like, watch it
curious,
again for
I
the-
will put it up
so
in
good.
blog
Yeah.
post about
Oh boy.
It'll be embedded in there. Worry not.
I did find out, like, so Alexa's like an honorary RBW, like,
Oh.
person, because, like, apparently the two CEOs are, like, best friends or whatever, so they're always hanging out, and some of Alexa's songs are recorded at RBW
Oh, that's
studios.
cool.
So that's why she was in, because she's, like, I guess it's, like, almost like, she's the cousin of the groups, you know, they're all, like,
Nice.
family, and then she's like the outside cousin who comes hangs out a lot, so she does a lot of stuff, and she has like other stuff with them too. She like she has like the one song that she does with them, and it's like a sit down, really nice, like just great vocal like in harmonies and stuff, so it's a lot
She's
of fun.
our best friend and theirs.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Love to
Basically.
see it.
Oh, and side note, as far as so the End of Spring music video, you have Alexa, and you also have, of course, you have ONEWE,
Mm-hmm.
and
like
you
party,
have
like vibe to it, because they're like
Yeah.
all like
Yeah.
dancing around.
It's a really great music video.
and
a great
you
song.
have pre-debut Purple Kiss.
That's
as
right.
well.
They do have that. Yeah.
Just everyone who was in the like building that day,
Yeah, they were like-
they're all just there
They sent out a mass
partying. It's
email,
good
and they're like,
times.
we need this amount of people, so like show up. We'll give you a Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
I really love, like, song-wise and music video-wise, I love Aurora a lot.
Aurora
I
is my
love this-
favorite
love
song.
it.
Favorite
It's
song.
so good.
Nothing's like
Okay,
surpassed
wait,
it.
is it all of our favorite song? Uh-oh.
Amanda, is it your favorite song, or do you?
It is not. My favorite song is their OST. I really
yeah.
like the About Her OST. I really enjoy that one. But I mean, they don't have any bad songs.
Sure.
Like,
I also really, really, really like the song Veronica.
mhm.
It was really nice.
And I will say, so, like, some of their songs have different vibes, of course, but as far as, like, again, where do you really... Sometimes it isn't quite rock ballad. Sometimes it is more on the alt-rock side of things. They do have tracks that are alt-rock. But as far as, like... So you have your alt-rock ones, and then you have... this is squarely rock ballad.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many, like, rock ballad with soaring vocals. Yes, please. Thank you. Like...
Also
I could call them out just for that.
Gravity is so good.
Gravity.
Gravity.
I will say a song that like I fell in love with just like as I was re-listening for the bazillionth time. Trauma/Aquarium.
Mhm.
Yes. Because it was more rocky. It was very fun.
And I do find, like, one of the things when I first started listening to them sort of all at once, what I found was that not all of the songs, but there's a large chunk of the songs that sort of have an intro that feels different. Like, the vibe sort of changes after the intro. So, like, I'd be listening and be like, oh, here we go. This is going to be a ballad. And then all of a sudden it was like, here we
Nope.
go. And,
Get in.
and it's a rock, you know. And you're like, oh, okay. So if you're listening and you need to give the songs at least 20 seconds because
You don't know what you're
you
getting yet.
initially see might not be what you're gonna get.
I really do like the song Gravity, but there's a specific reason why I really like it. I really like songs that have like a sick bass line, and Gravity has a sick bass line. Like, I have a special place in my heart for bass players. Just
I love the guitar solos in some of the songs. Oh my gosh. Like love.
I'm listening to them right now, and like there was just this like really good guitar solo, and I was like, ooh, which song is this? And yeah, it's Trauma. And I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like Rain is fun too. That's like actually a great music video as well.
I was showing that to my husband. I was like, here, they're in a pool and it's raining, and oh no, water's coming out of their amps
It's a
because
reenactment
it
of
is.
Natalia's day yesterday.
Reenactment of my street yesterday. Montreal got hit with quite a storm surge, shall we say. I was actually just watching it, and like my husband was sitting next to me, just sort of like, and he looked over. He's like, "Is that man playing a guitar?" I'm like, "You bet he is. You bet he is playing a guitar."
Oh, speaking of Dongmyung and playing and performing, I only remembered this little tidbit today, and I shared it with the ladies like right before we went in for recording. But there was a moment in, I think it was end of spring promotions. On a music show, and Dongmyung, so like they did kind of their choreography of like, you know, gathering on the stage and doing their stuff, and there's a part that they kick, and Dongmyung's shoe goes flying off into the audience, and it's not just that, he immediately covers his mouth, and he is just like, "I'm so sorry," like he's like
this quick
so embarrassed,
so random.
Yeah, and then it cut. I had forgotten that happened.
You know?
It was whenever that happened, like back in the day, the fandom thought it was super funny, like, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but like fandom name is WEVE, WEVE. Hey,
then you know me.
Don't be sighing.
No, you know me and my feelings on fandom names. I'm in some of the worst named fandoms in the world. Don't worry about it.
You can never be worse than
Listen,
we.
I'm a Wonho stan. Like, I can't say shit about fandom names. I know.
And they don't have a light stick yet, but if they ever do, I will be morally obligated to
I hope it's a
acquire
guitar
one
if they do. Just like a cyberpunk guitar.
That'd be amazing.
I mean, ONEWE has one, ideas, right? So just saying.
Putting it out there.
And I do feel like a lot of ONEWE's lyrics and a lot of the kind of album art, not all the album art, but a lot of it is kind of tied to universe and stars and stuff, and I always like that type of thing. So, but yeah. Any other songs or anything you saw that you really liked or heard?
I really enjoyed their they did this little 3 little mini episode of them just going on like a little overnight trip to some homestay together. But what I always like when these shows show just how incompetent these musicians are outside of anything to do with music, and just watching them struggle to try to cook on a charcoal grill. where there was just a moment, at first they started and it wasn't hot enough, and they're like, there's no sizzle sound, when you put the stuff down, there's no sizzle. They're like, okay, take it off, we'll make it hotter. So then it's a long extended cut of these two men just putting using one of those fire starters, hitting it with fire and being like, should we add more charcoal and stuff? And they're like, no, it should be good. And they're like, yeah, it's definitely hot enough. It's finally hot enough. We spent 20 minutes, and they put the grill top on and they put the meat down and it doesn't sizzle again. And their looks of defeat. I felt them in my soul, So I really enjoy that vibe that they. I just love watching incompetent men. I'm like the creator of Sailor Moon that way. Just sad, incompetent men. Something about them.
The vibe that they have just as people. They're very fun, but I would not say they're necessarily as chaotic. There are some groups that we follow that are very, very chaotic. Just even in a quiet moment. It's like ATs, they're just going to be always chaotic no matter what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But ONEWE, and I'm not saying they're always chill, but they're just kind of little beans. Everything they're doing, but they're just kind of a little bean doing
when they bicker, they're quiet. And it's just them just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for 10 minutes in one line. And you're like, okay, I see how this is. They're very funny, but they're just they're a little more subdued. And I'm not saying it's because of maturity. It's just, I think you at least have Kang Hyun, and he's very, very introverted. And then I feel like Harin isn't necessarily hugely extroverted either. So he's not, but he's just almost just quiet. He just is observing. It's not because he doesn't want to talk, it's because it is. He's just there,
Yeah.
like smoldering in the corner. Like that's basically what he does.
Hi, I'm the attractive drummer.
Hello.
I'm just sitting here with my fancy
Like,
hair.
piercing
The
eyes,
hot one.
yeah.
The hot quiet one. Don't worry about it.
But I mean, I love all their stuff. I mean, I do think it is possible for people to not dig. Like, if you don't like rock ballad, you're gonna have to look for their alt rock side of stuff. They do have some of that, but as far as if you're not into either of those things, they are not.
And
like,
I would
that's
say
what
that
they
like
got.
if you're gonna, ONEWE is a rock ballad group and just happens to have kind of some of these other things. I think like that is where they're biggest, and it mainly is to do with their lead singer because that's where his vocal range is and what he excels at. But yeah. I could see that like being an issue. It's squarely in my genre, like favorite genre of music. So like, there was no way I wasn't gonna like ONEWE. So
yeah, it's been quite some time that Jessie and I'll be like, ONEWE came out with something like we've been on the ONEWE train for quite a while.
I own a couple of their albums. You know,
I definitely like. Going into this, I was like, yeah, I know I've heard a couple of their songs, but like there was a lot of songs that I was like, oh yeah, I know that song. Oh yeah, I know that song. So I think I was more into them than I thought I was. So.
And I do think a lot of their rock ballad stuff, it is not OSTs, but it could easily have been OSTs.
Yes.
Like you could easily put that in the background of a drama and it would have worked very well.
Yeah.
Like
And End of Spring has had a lovely place on one of my cleaning playlists for a while. Because it is hype band music. You're just like, yeah, I'm gonna get stuff done today.
I will say, back in the day, like, Jessie, I think it might have been Natalia, Jessie, and I. It might have been just Jessie and I. Like, we watched Regulus together, too, way back in the day.
There was one time, like, was it after, like, a recording? Because I remember, like,
I think
like,
so.
There was a recording, and, like, Sky and I used to stay on the call for a very long time. And I don't know if, like, I mean, like, sometimes, like, the other two would. But it was, like, mostly, like, Sky and I, we were just, like, random things. And we're like, oh, my gosh, ONEWE came out, like, with their song, like, while we were recording.
Yeah, maybe it was that. But, like, so we watched it together, and it was funny because we had been paying attention to the concept, like, photos and stuff that were dropping before. And it was all so, like, dark, emo looking with, like, fake lip piercings and neck tattoos, like, the whole shebang. And so, and this was kind of earlier on in the ONEWE journey. It really was. Actually, Regulus, that was their debut, their like official debut, I think. So they had only dropped like pre-debut stuff. So Jessie and I, we were like, we're hyped. We wanted dark emo something. Like that's what we thought we were getting because the concept art was so that and again, this was we did not know ONEWE is a rock ballad group. Like we did not really know that. So we were not Regulus was a lovely song. I do love the song. But when you're going in and you're looking at the costuming and you're like, yeah.
It's like the dissonance of what my eyes were seeing.
That's like when
and what my ears
pick
were
up
hearing.
Your cup and think that like you're drinking like a soda and it's water or something like that. Where
you're just like you think you're about to drink coffee, but it's tea. It's like it's still good, but you're just not. You're like, whoa. There's a moment where you're like, wait a second.
What's that?
That's very much what and we couldn't really get rid of that dissonance, which was just because of our perceptions with the costuming.
But you know,
but then afterwards it was like, oh, it's lovely,
like
it's lovely, but it wasn't
poster versus or you know, K-drama poster like a teaser versus the actual show. You're like, oh, wait a minute, hold on,
wait a second. It's like
it was
like
very
watching.
bad.
It was like watching the teaser for Suspicious Partners and then watching the show Suspicious Partners and being like, "Whoa, what a second!"
Which, if you don't know, the teaser looked like a jolly musical.
Yeah, a jolly, lovely musical theater.
The
number.
drama itself was a thriller.
Yeah, murder.
A law thriller.
Yeah.
Murder.
With romance.
Murder.
But like there's murder. And it was it was heavy. So that's why it was the dissonance. We still loved Regulus. It was just I remember us being like, we don't know what to do with this because it was whiplash is what it was. But ONEWE has always been lovely.
Fabulous.
Natalia and I were talking about doing this before everybody else joined the car. We thought it would be fun to guess everyone's bias if you have a bias.
Oh, I've already said it. I'm sorry.
So we know Scott.
Well, I did have mine initially. So for people who don't know, when we're recording, we have like our name and then the option of where we're recording. You can also put like a little subtitle underneath your name. And I had come in, and Jessie and I were the first ones here in the call, and I had mine written, and she was like, "Oh, I guess we can't guess anymore." I'm like, "No, I'll take it away. I'll take it away. I'll take it away." And then you'll know, but the rest of them won't know.
Well, does it apply to what's so currently Natalia's subheading is "I love little gremlin energy." Does it apply to that?
It's like a little bit.
Okay.
But I did say something earlier.
And yeah, you confessed to something earlier, which pretty much tells us who it is.
I mean, like,
have
maybe you can
informed my answer.
Yes.
We can't like officially do this like guessing who the bias is, but like we can talk about our bias if we have one.
So Natalia's is Gyuk. We already know that based on what she said earlier.
Earlier I said I do love a special place in my heart for bass players. And then I talked about how much I love concept albums. And well, he's a bass player who makes concept albums. And he's a little gremlin. He's a little gremlin.
And he has his little hairs are always so cute.
Cute hair. And his original stage name was based off of like a nymph from like Greek mythology. Like, come on, like tailor-made.
High concept.
High concept. Natalia's there, you know.
How about you, Jessie? Should we guess for you?
You can if you want.
Well,
have I given any like? No.
Yeah, I'm about to. You didn't really say, but you did say that Harin was smoldering in the corner.
Yeah, he did. He was smoldering, but I think that was a false flag situation. I think she was throwing us off. I think it's Young-hoon.
I feeling based on like who's the most attractive to me.
No, I think it's Young-hoon.
Loves a vocalist, though, right?
Loves an introverted vocalist.
Love. Yeah. I'm obsessed with him. Like it's not just like a bias. It was like Jessie, you gotta stop.
Jessie.
Like I was watching like clips of like just like everyone, and then all of it just like slowly just went to just him. And I was like, Jessie, you gotta stop this, please.
Jesse.
His big smile is a thing.
Yeah. But also he's just like hilarious, and he's hilarious with what's the kid who was the former leader. So that's the leader line that they call him. You know who I'm talking about?
It was Kang-hyun. Is he the
I think
leader?
That's
the guitarist.
Yeah, he was the original leader of when Young-hoon was in there, and they like call him like the leader line or something like that. They're hilarious together. They just bicker nonstop, like just dry humor. It's like they hate each other, but they love each other.
Yeah, sibling energy, big sibling energy.
Him, like just loves him, but he's really funny. But like the thing that like got me was when they were doing that thing where I was with the Moonjewel with the dance competition thing that they were doing, and Young-hoon was just so offended nobody loved his terrible dancing. He was just so offended. He was like, "What? I didn't win."
How? I work my ass off to bring you perfection.
But also, just his singing voice is incredible.
It's unbelievable.
It's so good.
You can see why a bunch of 14-year-olds worked up the courage to go up to him, a full-ass college student, and be like, "Hey!"
And they got lucky. He said yes. Jeez.
Yeah.
They got him.
Yeah. Talk about being like nice. When I say nice guy, I don't mean nice guy like in the in the derogatory fact. Nice guy energy in a true nice, like he seems like a nice kid back when he was 22 to give the time of day to children.
Yeah. And like to not only give them the time of day to even just like, respectfully ask, but to respect them as musicians too.
Yeah.
Like to be like, "Oh wait, you guys are actually like serious." Like
he does have like Sunghyun's energy.
He does.
And flying. So if you're trying to like figure out who he is as a person, it's just he's got that vibe going.
Well, and that's why like there's no way that was not going to be my bias.
That's true.
Because Sunghyun is my bias of in flying. So
And
like...
I did guess that he was your bias, so I feel proud of myself that I picked it.
I watching like bits and interviews and stuff, and I was like, I wonder if we're gonna do guess the bias.
We always do.
We have to guess Amanda's.
Okay.
So, but first, Amanda. Why did you think he was my bias based on that?
I don't know. I don't remember what it was. That I just remember watching something and being like, "This is Sky's bias."
The energy was
this
there.
Is Sky's bias. The energy. It had the voice, the energy, something. I was just like, "Yep, yeah."
All right, my guess for Amanda.
Well, she always likes rappers too.
That's true. She does.
She does.
But I don't know. I feel like.
But she could be the drummer.
The only one she mentioned alone. The only one she mentioned was the drummer by saying she liked when they went and they vibed with the drummer. I think it's Harin. I think it's the drummer. This is my. Natalia is putting her whole brain-ussy into this one.
But I don't know. Like, okay, let's see. Got it.
To me, it's possible that Amanda maybe had a different bias, but I mentioned something about someone specifically, and I think that might have made her think a little bit about it, if he wasn't already her bias. I think she is considering Kanghyun the guitarist. I think she's considering.
Okay.
So if that is not the bias that she had before we started recording, he's at least being a bias wrecker at the moment.
Okay.
Because I mentioned he is a bookworm. That was a huge.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Huge. So what is it?
And
I would say it's yuck, but it definitely did. When I first started looking at them, Harin did. I was like, "Oh, this is a cute kid," but like, it didn't take very long before overtook it, and I was like, "Yeah, no, this is the actual bias. This is,
but can we all just say Harin does it? He attracts the eye.
Yeah. He's got that.
It's like who's that back there? Let me little peek.
He's a compelling fella.
He has that like model look to him. You know that like
he does.
Like.
He also has a really nice smile, so like I do like a nice smile. They all have
he's
very
kind
nice
of
smiles, but
he looks very different from Soham, but like they could just go model together and it would work for me. Tall, just striking dude. Yeah.
And Dongmyeon has a really interesting face. I gotta say,
yes. And to me, the twins do not. The identical twins do not look identical to me.
I don't think they're identical. Like,
you don't think they are?
I don't. I think they're fraternal, but like just calling it identical. Like they don't look alike to me.
How common is it is it just 50-50 for fraternal twins to not be different gender? Like, is it?
It's luck of the draw. Okay. Literally luck of the draw. And like, because identical means that you were one egg that split into two, and then fraternal you were just two eggs that were released.
Because I've known one pair of fraternal twins, but they were different gender. So so.
And also sometimes fraternal twins look alike.
Like I have. I mean, my nephews are fraternal twins, but they're both boys, but they don't look anything alike.
Well,
so
and like. My little sister is 4 years younger than me, but we get asked if we're twins a lot because we're very similar looking, right? Like I go into her shop and her employees are like, "Oh, you must be her sister," and I'm like, "I am." Yeah.
Well, it's like there's been like fraternal twins from like mixed race families that like one
that's true
looks black and one looks white. Like so, it's like they don't necessarily have to look alike at all, but I don't find they look
they do look like brothers. They do look like brothers.
Yeah, you can tell they're related, but I don't think they look identical. Listen, we don't know. We're not in their DNA
but
checking it out,
One thing I do want to say about that, I do appreciate the like sunshine and dark energy with them. I really do like that. Because he's not Dongmyeon, his brother, very tsundere. Like it's just so funny to me. And Dongmyeon's like, but he's tsundere right back at him, like between the two of them. It's a good time.
I like that there's also like, they mess with the managers a lot, if you've like noticed their things. Like they're very funny. Like you should watch their like lives or their vlogs, especially when they're at music shows, because they always like, they'll like go around and like see what everybody's up to, and then immediately go to the manager. And the manager is always doing something. Like, so he's like mid doing something when they catch him. So it'll be like him drinking water. And so like all you see is this blur and him just die.
Well, according to K Profiles, they're fraternal twins. So,
according to K Profiles, the Bible.
The Bible on
the
K-pop
source for
members,
reliable.
The source for reliable. And, to be honest, K Profiles is actually a pretty reliable source for information.
As far as it is the most updated, because I will say, if you're like, oh, so like if you're newly into ONEWE, or if you're wanting to check more out on them, and if you're like going onto YouTube and you're trying to look at guides and stuff, first of all, there's only a handful. Second of all, they're all over a year old.
Yeah.
We found a few that are lovely, so I'm totally not knocking it. Yay, if you're listening to this, love you. I'm just saying, as far as like, so things aren't, if you're watching the discography portion of some of those videos and stuff, it's a year or two behind quite often, which that's when it was made. It's totally fine. So K Profiles, or like if you're looking for discography stuff, just pull up Wikipedia or whatever, and that's where you'll find
like even our older music like episodes that we've done, they're gonna be out of date now.
Yeah.
Pretty much almost every group, with a few exceptions, that we've done music on have produced things since we did
Definitely.
them.
Yeah.
For sure.
I will say the ONEWE's in this like really great position. It's what I love, especially like looking for like fan content, is like a group that is this size, where they're like kind of known but like necessarily not known. And so everybody who makes any sort of compilation is just like, will you please listen to my really like favoriteest band ever? This is who they are, and they're all so sweet and so adorable. And so you like watch these compilations on YouTube, and they're like, and then they do this, and then they do this, and they're really great. And I'm like, oh my god, you're adorable.
They're so earnest. They're such earnest little videos.
We love
them. We love these compilation videos. They're doing a great service.
They really are
to people.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing, compilation maker. Keep doing it.
Yes, I do. All I was saying was, because it's a small pond, and the pandemic also happened. Like, it's a small pond. There are only so many fans that can sit here and make time for compilation videos. Often they're multis. So again, they're usually making for a few groups or stuff. I will say I don't think I've had any one-on-one interactions necessarily with other fans, but the corner of Twitter that I did put my toe in a few times just to kind of follow some people and stuff, it's, they were nice and whatnot that I could see. They just always want more stuff from them.
I just went to Google, like ONEWE books, right, to see if I could find that, and some delightful fan has actually put a list on Goodreads. Like, you can go on Goodreads and just click want to read on all of the books that he has recommended.
Like
they're all right there for you
whenever we do that.
Yeah, and it's not just like a little hand, like that's pretty much the main thing that he I think discusses with them. And so most of the
likes Dan Brown. Just saying.
Well,
Dan Brown on.
Listen, we're not gonna roast this guy on his book choices, all right? Like, everyone likes what they like.
If he has a good time,
that's what matters.
Not pick that as our book club.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, I can't go super super deep with any other lore or anything. That's all I got for that. But I do think, if you like rock ballads whatsoever, or if you think you might like rock ballads, if you're an OST fan, if you like Korean drama soundtracky type stuff, please check out ONEWE.
Just like bands. This is it.
Bands. Yep.
They're great. They're absolutely fantastic, and their stuff is easy to find, and they're a good time.
Their voices
are incredible.
There's a keytar.
Yeah.
Who else has a keytar? Probably some people have keytars, so I'm not knocking anyone
else.
Also
plays the keytar in the rain and a flooding pool. Like,
yeah.
What other band has that?
Braver than the troops. You know?
Oh, one little tiny side note. So in K-pop, groups, so the dancing groups, idol groups, the relay dances that they do for content on these variety of channels. So so you have the dancing groups, and I don't know if a band has done this since. I am unsure, but I know the first band to do an official relay dance video like that is ONEWE, and it is an adorable. And I think it was for Rain to Be. I don't know. It was either End of Spring or Rain to Be, either of them. But
I think it was End of Spring.
It might have been End of Spring. But they even have their instruments and stuff, and it is really cool. So you should check that out. It was fun. The heartbeat thing's really funny too. I always bring that up, but silly. Covers, check out their covers.
There is a bunch of different compilations of them dancing, so just let you know. That's a thing.
Yep, they're funny. They even have some covers that are English covers of things, if that's something you would want.
They're fantastic.
And there is a video of, so they did cover Hwasa's Twit. I kind of mentioned that earlier, but then there was a reaction to it with Hwasa watching with them. So that was all cute. I really enjoyed Hwasa being on that Q song. That is such a gorgeous song. Oh my gosh.
Really is.
They're fantastic, and you should give them a listen.
Yes, definitely.
If for nothing else, but as a birthday present to Sky.
Yeah.
Yes. And
I see.
I'm unsure when those two men will be back from the military, but they will sometime. But then
they always come back. Don't worry about it.
Less than a year for Young.
But then I wonder about, okay, if Ha-Ren is older than Kang-hyun, who is currently in the military. Okay.
Well,
so that's
you can join as long as you're over 18. You're fine to join. Right. So he probably just joined.
They're probably just spacing it out.
Young-hoon was probably okay, well, I'm
actually... Well, see, probably, it's probably because, this is probably, a thing that they're doing. So, because they wanted to put out, the stuff with the three of them, but if you get rid of a drummer, that's harder to, play off.
Be a band.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe, once the drummer comes, that's then they'll have the other two back, and they'll focus on a lot of solo stuff.
Solos, yeah,
Oh yeah.
I can see that.
I'm sure there's some sort of
thought process, but we do know Young-hoon was oh, I'm getting old. I need to go.
Oh yeah.
Right. I'm older. I know I hang out with these guys, but I'm actually a lot older than them. Right.
My time has come is what mostly happened for him.
I'm going home.
I have to go do my duty.
He just gets carried off.
I will say, I don't remember what instruments they're playing in the band, but I feel like I think, they might be both playing brass. I don't remember. They're playing other instruments. They're not playing their typical stuff yet. But they're not as...
Hey, who knows? They might come back with whole new musical skill sets for us to enjoy when they get back.
Yeah.
They could become a swing band for all we know. We don't know.
Hey.
That would actually be,
I would be into that.
Would be sick as hell.
One comeback is swing.
That would be sick if you had a ska comeback.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Yes.
But okay, let's be honest with her. Okay, I can see swing from ONEWE. Ska would be more Extraordinary Heroes.
That's
true.
You had to guess.
Extraordinary
Heroes does have the ska vibes. It's
I'm just saying.
See, with ONEWE, it would be skiddly bop positive, and then with Extraordinary it would be skiddly bop negative. That's the difference.
Essentially,
angry skiddly bops versus happy skiddly bops. You know what I mean?
Or sometimes with ONEWE, it's not quite heartbroken, but it's kind of heartfelt. Yeah, they're very heartfelt skiddly bops.
Yeah, heartfelt skiddly boops. Boop bop bop. Yeah.
Though I would love to. So what would we like from ONEWE? I'd like an angry album. I don't think it's. I don't think that's their corner.
Think that's gonna happen.
I with Young-hoon as your vocalist. Do some metal, please.
Ooh.
Yeah. It would be great.
We got a little excited there. Okay.
Let me just write that down, because you know how every year we're like, what is my wish, my official wish for the
wish list? Our wish list is.
Because that's what we put all of our podcast powers into. Yeah, I'm fine with putting my podcast powers for that.
Speaking things into existence.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I already said skiddly bops, so skiddly bops.
As a realistic thing, I think they should do more OSTs.
Yeah.
I think
that might be what they're going to do while they're doing their military cycle.
Yeah, because I feel like they would be really great for that. They already do rock ballads, and rock ballads for every genre of K-drama they'll pick up that for an OST. So I think they're primed.
Like it can even be a historical. Here's a rock ballad. That's the way it works. That's what happens. That or a ballad. But what I do officially predict, it would not shock me if, of course, once Young-hoon comes back, if he ended up on an OST, just him, because you know how that happens.
There's
too.
no way that he's not going to come back and do a solo album. I just don't think that's. And
as far as what vibe his solo album, ballad, he will go ballad.
It's going to be heartbreak. He's
someone will have stomped on his metaphorical soul, and he's going to just tell us all about it.
And then you'll find out it's a song about the first time he'd ever pet a dog or something.
Yeah.
My goodness.
You love to see it. You love to see it.
Rain to Me, they wrote because it felt that every single time they went to go to the studio, it was raining. So they were like, we have to make a raining song. Yeah, they do some random songs. And then they're great. And you're like, that's where you got it? Okay. Find your...
And what I would love that I'm never going to get is in Flying ONEWE, they don't even have to do music together. I just want them to hang out a little bit because there's some similar vibes with just their not when they're being super chaotic, because In Flying can be chaotic, but when In Flying is chill and when ONEWE is just doing their thing, there's some similarities there.
I will say that I know for a fact that they are obsessed with Day 6 to the point that they want a collab with Day 6. So as a gift to them,
for them,
I want them to be, because they have done covers of Day 6 too, so you can hear them on some of their concerts and stuff. And then they were on a couple of the radio shows that Young K was on. But they have said their dream would be to do a collab with Day 6. So I'll put that out into the world for them if that's what they want.
Yeah. It's always sad that realistically, unless people share a label, the reality of that ever happening is more slim.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is unfortunate. Whereas the FNC bands, they do crud together.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Well, there's the one, I think it was when Young K was on Idol Radio, they did, he sang Zombie and they did backup for him. So Arn was doing the beat on the drums and stuff, and they were doing the backup vocals for it. So they've gotten there. It's just, they haven't.
Just further. Yeah, just go a step further. I do think as they get older, as the baby children or less baby children, I do think hopefully they'll get maybe more opportunities to do adult bandy things. And I'm not saying I just think hopefully, for instance, Immortal Songs or something. They haven't been there yet. I think maybe as they get older, maybe that would be, because there are bands that go on Immortal Songs to perform and stuff. And I think that they would be a good fit for that. Because sometimes it is even soundtrack type stuff that is done there. The themes that they have, it would depend on what the Immortal Song show was. But I think that ONEWE would do really well.
I agree.
They should do some covers of some 80s hair bands.
That would be great.
That would be fun.
That would be great Immortal Songs. I think the audience, the older audience of Immortal Songs would totally dig that.
Yeah. So yes, go listen and watch ONEWE. We think that you will love them.
You, everyone, just anyone. I feel like there's something there for everyone. Don't worry about
not,
it.
I really still listen to them for a bit. Give them some listens, please.
It'll grow on you. It'll grow on. Don't worry about it.
What were you saying, Amanda?
Just I don't even remember, but just there's good music, right? Like if you like music, then you will probably like, if you like vocals, if you like instrumentals, like it just, there's something there that you will appreciate.
There's even like if you're kind of like, oh, I like those lo-fi study vibe type videos, Kanghyun, like he's made just instrumentals that people like, just a compilation of instrumentals that he's recorded for people just to like study with and whatever, if that's something that you like. So they got you covered.
They're great.
Love them.
Love them.
And they're just a little family. Go support the little family.
They're just a bunch of little guys. They're just a bunch of little guys.
The little guys with the old guy.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, you know who else are just a bunch of little guys? The four of us. And if you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/certified Noonas to join the found family to support this podcast and the nonsense that we get up to. You can listen to this podcast wherever podcasts can be found, but all of our episodes are also on YouTube, where we also do a weekly live stream on various topics, and it's super fun, and you should come hang out with us there when you have the time. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. Maybe add some ONEWE to your playlist, you know. If you want to check out the time codes and everything, as always, on our website, certifiednoonas.com, is where we put all the info you need to know about every episode we've ever recorded. And we hope you have a fantastic week, as always. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and keep enjoying Asian entertainment, and listen to ONEWE. Bye!
Bye!
Bye!